Hey there, Jester here, and I'm here today with the Mothman, and we're going to be painting up a little box and painting this frame. Now, I'm going to want that for a different craft, but as long as I got my paints out, I might as well get that done. And we're going to put Mothman aside so she doesn't get paint on her, and I'm going to pull up my sleeves a little so I don't get paint on them. So I'm going to start with my box, and this is, dollar store box. I've already, taken off the hardware, given it a good sanding, and now I want to, do a sort of staining it with paint. So if you remember from the episode where I was testing out, proper wood stain versus paint, and this is, oh, my paint's in the way. So that was the official wood stain, and this was the paint. You wanted to do a budget version of staining, but I had bought the proper stain for a serious project. So I have that now, but today I want to do something that isn't just brown. What I want to do is do it in green. I need to adjust my camera. Oops. Sorry, Mothman. You can go back to sitting down there. So, got my box. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to water down my paint. So I've got a little plastic container that I think used to contain a pudding or something. I'm going to add just a little paint and a little water. I'm just guessing numbers right now. And I will add more of whichever as I need it. So, stir stick. And we are going to mix that up. And there's a cat by my feet. Where are you going? Go to his basket. So that is the color I want, but I mean, it's not even staining my popsicle stick yet, so I am going to have to add more paint. All right, let's give you another little stir. Probably should start with less water, but no, I've made my choice. Yeah, it's starting to stain my popsicle stick, but I'm just going to add a little more paint. I always underestimate how little water you need, like how much water to put in. You don't really need all that much. Now I'm thinking, there's been a lot of sirens today. I looked out earlier and it was mostly fire trucks, so hopefully they're getting to where they need to be. Okay, I'm going to put that aside. And I'm going to start painting this up. I'm going to kind of hold that on the bottom. So I'm going to start with the underside of this just to make sure that it's looking right. Yeah, that's about what I want. Especially since I am going to be sanding this afterwards. So the color is going to be lighter because I do want to have it have a bit of a, you know, antique distressed look. But yeah, you can see I wanted the paint to be nice and thin because I want to see the wood grain. If I just put the straight paint on, you wouldn't be able to see the texture of the wood. I'm going to do the other sides. The reason I'm doing the outsides first is that gives it a little time to dry while I'm doing other things, and I don't have to, wander off and do other things waiting for it to dry. And I can just film this all in one go. The other bonus to the thin paint is that I can just set this down on my newspaper and it's not going to stick like, full strength paint would. Strange corner in there. Let's just... You're not going to get perfection from a dollar store box. Okay, just make sure all my wood is covered. There we go. Half my box. Now I'm going to do the lid. And I'm not too worried about this since I do want it to end up looking a little rustic, a little worn at the end. So if my painting isn't perfect, it doesn't really matter. Alright, there we go. That is the lid. I'm going to put this in my cup of water to clean a little bit. And I'm going to put these off to the side for the moment. And I'm going to put my green paint aside for the moment. Because now I want to work on my little frame. And I'm just going to do this straight black. And what I want to do afterwards is I will want to varnish it. So after I finish painting this, I'm not going to get back to it for a little while because I need to wait for it to dry so that I can then put my paint varnish over it. But as long as I have my painting stuff out, I may as well work on that. Now, there it is. So instead of watering this down, I'm just going to use straight paint. And I've got my little just got my little paint tray and my paintbrush, and yeah, I'm not worried about these staples either because I do intend on covering some of this up. So when we get to that project, I will show you what I'm up to there. But this, I just need to give it a covering. And on the inside, since that will be seen when I'm done, and you'll see that I did not bother to gesso this first because, again, I didn't want to lose any details of the wood, or at least, lose as few as possible. And I want to go around the outside. Now I'm running into the problem of how do I hold on to this while painting it? Since at least the back I don't need to paint because that's just going to be up against a wall once I'm done. Okay, that's covered. Alright, so that's... Alright, so I'm just gonna put this aside and just leave that to dry because I do not need that anymore this session. Yes, I suppose I could, wear gloves to keep paint off my hands, but it washes off. Okay, so... Well, I do want to make sure that it doesn't get on my box. I'll get off as much of that as I can. There we go. Alright, so my box is still a little damp, but that's okay. I'm now going to paint the inside. I haven't decided whether or not I'm going to put, a bit of lining in here or not, so for now I'm just leaving it. For now, I'm going to paint the the full bottom of it too. Because if I know I'm going to line it, then I don't bother painting or staining the bottom. Because I'm just going to put a piece of felt over it. But today I am undecided, so I'm just going to get in there and get my painting done. Yes, I also sometimes won't bother, sanding on the inside if I know I'm going to line it, but since I did not know with this one, the inside is nice and sanded. I need to make sure I get in all the little corners and joins. And there's a cat by my feet again. Very active today, boy. Just gonna hang out over there for a while. All right. That's all my cracks and crevices and corners done. There we go. Now I'm going to do the lid. It's just the same process again, but slightly smaller. Oops. Painted my hand there. Well, like I said, paint washes off. This is just acrylic. It's not like the wood stain. I wear gloves when I use the wood stain because that does not come off easy. Acrylic, that's water-based. It's fine. Got all my cracks and crevices, got all my corners. There. And put that away. Scrub some of that paint off my thumb. Alright, and now on to the fun part. What I wanted to do with this particular box was then put a stencil on it. I've got some, dollar store stencils that I obviously haven't opened yet. Oof. Go in the garbage down there. I think the one I want is this one, because I think that'll fit on there. Let's see. So I can tell which is the front and the back because the front only has the 2 screw holes and the back has 4. So that there, and I think this will fit along here. Problem is I got to kind of do it by feel since I can't see through my stencil. That kind of feels like that fits there. Yeah, I think that'll do. Now I've got the problem of how do I apply the paint to this, and what I'm going to do is use little bits of chopped up sponge and then kind of sponge it on there. So for this I'm going to want a bit of yellow for the insides. I'm just going to use the straight paints for this because, you know, instead of watering them down, because it's going to be so small. And then I've got another shade of green for the leaves. And then for the flowers, it looks like there's two kinds of flowers. So I'm going to do the round petal ones purple, and then I'm going to do the pointy petal ones pink. So we're going to see how this turns out, because I don't really use stencils a lot. And I know I just did the episode about putting down the paint to, oops, this one needs more of a shake. You know, putting down your masking tape and then painting over it with the same color, but it's not going to work for this because, you know, this isn't straight stuck down, and, you know, it's not really going to, you know, the watered down paint isn't going to fill the gaps.
Hey there, future Jester here. It turns out that these are, in fact, stickers and not just plastic stencils. So, oops.
There we go. That's a very bright pink. I'm expecting something a little paler, but that's okay. So, let's see how this turns out. All right, so I'm going to take one of my, this had been a kitchen sponge, and now it is chopped into very teeny weeny pieces. So I think I'm going to start with my yellow. And I'm going to go just like a little dippy dot in the middle there. And hope that that goes through to the other side. Okay, so that's been my yellow. And then the second smallest amount is the pink. So I'm going to hold that down and pink over top of that. Get a little more paint. Go over with the bright pink. And some of it's getting other places, but that's okay. This is my first time doing this, and goof-ups are expected. Okay, now I'm going to do the purple flowers. So I'm going to get my purple. And go very carefully over where my purple flowers are. And then realize that I should have done the yellow last, because now I feel like usually when I'm doing this sort of thing, you know, I'm building up backwards. So you want the you know, what you're going to cover up, you know, you want to put that down first. But this, I'm building from the bottom up, so I'm going to have to go through and put the yellow on again, but that's okay. All right, so that's my purple. Now I'm going to do my green for my leaves. Mew, hey baby. Yeah, I'm busy. I'll come play with you in a bit. I gotta finish filming my show. Don't knock over my stuff. So yeah, what I should have done was put my green down first and then built up over top of that, but you know, we live and learn. See, the cleanup shouldn't be too bad with this, as long as I get this to the sink while it's still wet. I should be able to clean up my stencil. Okay, move my scissors, move my paints over here. I'm going to go over some of the colors again. So a little purple here and here. Mew, I know, I'm doing my show instead of playing with my kitty, but I'll get to you in a minute. All right, so let's try the yellow again. Oh, this is going to be a mess, but that's all right. Oh, my flower down there should be more pink, but he's got covered in green. All right, moment of truth. That's not terrible. That's actually kind of nice. All right. Yeah, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave that here. I'm going to let these dry completely, and then I'm going to do the, the finalization. I'm going to, give it a final sanding, because you need to do that after you paint. And then, he's sharpening his claws on my table. And then I'm going to put it back together, because I think I like it the way it is without a lining. So, I'm just going to leave that. And where'd my cat go? It's underneath me somewhere. Well, I'm going to leave that to dry, and I'm going to attend to my needy little cat. So, until next time, Mew! Until next time, stay crafty.